The French Naval tree is one of the most recent tech trees in War Thunder. It features lightning-quick boats, highly versatile destroyers and cruisers, and battleships with an unusual layout that gives them distinct advantages while also imposing serious limitations. Every ship has its own flavor and its own approach to combat. Today we'll take a careful look at the French Naval tree and show you ships that are most deserving of your attention. Researching the coastal fleet begins with the VTB series of boats. Their main advantage is superior speed. They are among the fastest boats in the game. As you progress through the tech tree, the armament also becomes increasingly powerful, with a jump from rifle-caliber machine guns to 20mm and 37mm cannons. Thanks to their well-designed placement, the guns can cover most of the area around the boat. The tactics for the entire line rest on 3 pillars: speed, surprise, and torpedoes. Avoid engaging larger ships out in the open. Use islands and the shoreline to close in on the enemy in a stealthy way and deliver a decisive strike. At rank 3 of the coastal tree, we suggest that you should give a chance to the Aviso-type ships, Marne and Arras. These are designed to confuse the enemy. Outwardly, they resemble ordinary merchant or auxiliary vessels, but behind that humble look lies a surprisingly heavy-hitting armament. Marne carries 4 100mm guns, while Arras mounts a pair of 138mm cannons, calibers more typical of destroyers than of coastal craft. This unique feature defines their entire playstyle. A single salvo from these guns can obliterate any boat, allowing you to push into critical areas. However, in an Aviso, it's best to stay near teammates, so you're not left defenseless during the relatively long reload. Now let's move on to the Bluewater fleet. First up is the destroyer Le Malin, a representative of the famous Le Fantasque class. These were large destroyers built primarily to engage other destroyers. In size and firepower, they approach light cruisers. Le Malin stands out for its excellent speed, powerful main battery, and robust anti-aircraft armament. In the hands of an experienced captain, this destroyer can confidently handle most of its peers and even give cruisers a hard time. However, like most ships of its rank, Le Malin has almost no armor protection, so it should avoid prolonged gunfights with heavier opponents. Also, try not to change course too sharply while firing. The turrets may not keep up with your maneuver. Use your high speed to maintain a favorable distance and prevent the enemy from closing in. At rank 4, consider using the 1942 version of the heavy cruiser Colbert. She's armed with 8 203mm guns, mounted in 4 turrets, boasts a powerful anti-aircraft battery, and is quite fast, at least for its class. In addition, 2 reconnaissance seaplanes greatly expand the cruiser's tactical options. The main battery does not have true armor-piercing shells, but it does carry semi-armor-piercing rounds, which are often sufficient against any opponent at its rank. At the same time, the cruiser's armor protection is relatively weak. As such, it's a good idea to avoid direct confrontations with other heavy cruisers and instead operate from the second line, providing support fire to your allies. Reconnaissance aircraft will help you peek over islands, spot enemies from afar, and even capture strategic points, forcing the opponent to divert attention and change their plans. Colbert does not thrive in simple, straightforward slugfests, but she shines in the hands of cautious players who choose their position in advance and make full use of aerial reconnaissance. At the same rank, but in the other branch of the tech tree, there are 2 light cruisers of the La Galissonière class. By the standards of their class, they have unusually sturdy armor. In fact, these ships are better protected than some of your heavy cruisers. A wide 105mm armored belt covers a substantial portion of the hull, while the deck armor is up to 38mm thick. Despite this solid level of protection, the cruisers can reach speeds of up to 35 knots, or approximately 65 kilometers per hour. Their armament is equally impressive. There are 9 152mm guns mounted in 3 turrets. Powerful armor-piercing shells fired by these guns perform well against cruisers and, under favorable circumstances, can even damage battleships. This combination of characteristics makes ships of the La Galissonière class highly versatile. They can take punishment, dish out damage, and remain sufficiently maneuverable. They're an excellent choice for players who are just getting used to the French cruiser line. At the very top of the Bluewater tech tree are Richelieu and Clemenceau, a duo of battleships with a rather unusual layout. All 8 of their 380mm guns are mounted at the front of the ship in 2 quadruple turrets. This arrangement allows them to unleash their full firepower in the forward firing arc, without exposing a broadside to enemy fire. This distinctive layout largely determines how these French battleships should be used in battle. It allows them to adopt a narrow profile line formation while keeping the target within firing arcs of both turrets. Keep in mind that Richelieu and Clemenceau are well protected against fire from most lower-ranked ships, but it's better not to take unnecessary risks against the game's most powerful battleships. The French fleet in War Thunder is an excellent choice for players who prefer maneuvering, careful planning, and unconventional solutions to straightforward slugging sessions. To do well on these ships, you have to have a good grasp on their strengths and weaknesses. And to secure victory, you also have to be cunning and flexible. Which French ship is your favorite? Share your experiences in the comments down below.